What is up, fans of sports? Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. Starting to feel a little under the weather, but that doesn't matter. Week 3 NFL pick show for the 2012-2013 NFL season. So again, you know the drill from last week. I'm going to start with a couple of my impressions coming off the games in Week 2. I'm not going to spend a lot of time harping on the replacement refs because that's fashionable for everybody to be doing based off of the games that we saw this week. What I will chime in to say is it was getting dangerously close to the point where the calls that the replacement refs are making are getting close to deciding the outcomes of games. I know there were a couple of really questionable calls in the Baltimore game, and there were questionable, reversible calls, and a lot of calls made in the Monday Nighter that had the two coaches just totally flipping their shit, understandably so. The NFL needs to get the regular referees back in there. That's all I'll say, because, like I say, everybody else is harping on the refs. Upset City this week. There were a lot of games that ended at least statistically as upsets based on the numbers and popular votes and everything like that. Indy, Miami, Arizona beating New England. That was a huge upset. You got Carolina upsetting New Orleans to put New Orleans at 0-2. I don't think anybody would have seen that coming. St. Louis, Seattle. That's at least 6 underdogs there winning in 16 games. So, I mean, that's not a terrible clip for underdog teams. Of course, the 3 statistical dogs that I picked for last week, Kansas City, Baltimore, and the New York Jets, all ended up losing. So that only makes sense that you try to toss some sleeper picks out there. They don't happen to hit, but no worries. One of the big stories that I saw, especially over in the NFC, but there were some big ones here in the AFC as well. An impressive Week 1 performance, followed up by a really lackluster performance in Week 2, begins and ends with New England. New England had a huge win, 34-13 at Tennessee in Week 1. The missed field goal by Gostkowski to lose their Week 2 game to Arizona, 20-18. New England should have been able to put up more than 18 points on Arizona. And it makes me wonder, like, is New England's window closing, or is Arizona really that good? Denver's comeback falls short. Peyton Manning throws 3 interceptions in the first quarter against Atlanta. They end up losing that game. I believe it was 27-21. And that was after, a huge win in going in and dominating the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-19 in Week 1. And the Jets had a shit preseason, didn't score a touchdown. They go out and they put up 48 points on Buffalo, who was claiming to have this revamped and much better defense. So everybody thinks, oh my gosh, the Jets might actually be for real. And then they flop 27-10 against Pittsburgh. It's another question, like, are the Jets that bad, or was Pittsburgh really that good and just didn't show it against Denver, or whatever it ended up being. But Tampa, Washington, Chicago, Dallas, these were all teams that had impressive wins in Week 1, only to turn around and not really show up. So moving on from there, I want to tell you how my platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks did in Week 2. We'll start with the platinum pick, of course. New England defeating Arizona was my choice for my platinum pick. Unfortunately, didn't work out so well for me. Arizona, as we mentioned, wins that game 20-18. So my platinum pick, my 16 confidence point pick, goes out the window. My gold pick was the Houston Texans defeating the Jacksonville Jaguars. They went out and they did that impressive fashion, 27-7. Houston rolls. Gold pick is mine. Silver pick, the New York Giants defeating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They went out there. Eli Manning, over 500 yards passing. Eli and the Giants roll and beat Tampa Bay, coming from behind in that game, I believe, to win that game 41-34, and giving me my silver pick. And my bronze pick, I had Atlanta defeating Denver. They went out, they did that. Again, Manning, 3 interceptions in the first quarter. They tried to mount the comeback there on Atlanta. Atlanta holds on at the end to win that game 27-21, just prior to Michael Turner going out and getting a DUI. So as far as my platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks go for week 2, I was once again 3-1, giving me a record of 6-2 for those picks on the season. I got my gold, my silver, and my bronze. I just missed out on the big one, missed out on the platinum. Moving now to the public and the private pick'em and how all of my picks did last week. Last week I was on the south side of 500, unfortunately. I had 7 correct and 9 incorrect, and I'm going to put them up for you there. Overall on the season, I have 17 correct and 15 incorrect. Not where I want to be, but certainly has room to move forward from there. Currently sitting in the 43rd percentile on Yahoo. In the private pick'em, the Bridgewater's Finest pick'em, currently sit tied for 5th out of 7 with a total of 154 confidence points. About 57% of the available confidence points there. So it's 154 out of 272. Again, not where I want to be, but moving forward. Week 2, I only managed to rake in 58 of 136 possible confidence points, only at 43%. Definitely not where you want to be. Shout out to our week 2 winner, Phil. Phil, on week 2, ended up being 10-6, dodging most of the bullets, raking in 85 of 136 confidence points at a clip of around 63%. Was not enough to dethrone our overall leader, who remains Tom Mullins. Tom on the season is 20-12, raking in 191 of 272 confidence points at a clip of right around 70%. So congratulations, Phil, for being our week 2 winner, and Tom for remaining our overall leader. Now, let's move on to my platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks for week 3 in the NFL. I'm going to start at the bottom with the bronze pick. We have the Seattle Seahawks playing at home against the Green Bay Packers. Seattle, notoriously tough team to play at home, and most of the videos and correspondence that I seem to be reading about this game has everybody going with Seattle. There's a lot of people doubting Green Bay's defense, just not thinking that Green Bay is going to be able to go into Seattle, which again is a notoriously tough place to play, one of the loudest buildings in the NFL, if not the loudest. At the same time, it ain't Baltimore. I only say that because Baltimore was undefeated at home last year. Green Bay, their defense is only giving up about 20 points a game. Well, so far on the average this year. I know we only have 2 games. But still, they're only giving up 20 points a game. So you look at maybe around 3 scores, and if Seattle can only hit that, if Seattle can only hit 3 scores, I don't trust Seattle's defense to hold off the upside in the Green Bay offense. I'm going to go with the upside. I'm going to go with apparently what is a slight underdog in this match, apparently. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers on the road to go into Seattle and win for my bronze pick. For my silver pick, we have the Oakland Raiders playing at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oakland, I'm not sure what's going on with Oakland. Oakland looked like they could have a not too bad team, maybe threaten in that division. They looked good in the first week against San Diego, but right now Oakland is a story of a team with an okay defense that's only putting up 14 points a game. Tough team to go with. Pittsburgh Steelers, I feel like I've been disrespecting them a little bit. Yeah, they went out and they got a little bit embarrassed by Denver. They turned around with a very solid win against the Jets in week 2. So no more disrespect there. And the offense has been surprising me for Pittsburgh with relatively no running game. They've still been able to put up a clip of about 3 touchdowns a game. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh in this one to go into Oakland, win for my silver pick. My gold pick has the Minnesota Vikings playing at home against the San Francisco 49ers. Minnesota Vikings, this is a team that is a developing, dangerous team. You have all the pieces here for a team that can do some damage. You've got, of course, Adrian Peterson. We can't say enough about Adrian Peterson. You have one of the most dynamic I believe, wide receivers in the game in Percy Harvin. You have Christian Ponder, who had a really good game in week 2, is a developing arm, showed some good things through the latter part of last season. Unfortunately, you're going to go in against the San Francisco 49ers, who are, I believe, unquestionably the top team in football right now, a punishing, devastating defense, a passing game that is really, really coming into its own here in the first. We're seeing it in the first couple of weeks that their passing game is really starting to fire on all cylinders. A run game, of course, is very good, anchored by Frank Gore. I also happen to say that Frank Gore was one of the top 25 fantasy football players this year. Everybody thought I was crazy, but he's putting up great numbers so far. Got to take San Fran to go into Minnesota, win this game outright. Gold pick, San Francisco 49ers. And the platinum pick, the Tennessee Titans playing at home, welcoming the Detroit Lions. Tennessee, I have very little to say about them. No offense, no defense. CJ2K has been lame, is cutting when he's not supposed to be cutting, is cutting into single and double coverage into defenders, not running like the guy that is capable of putting up 1,500 yards, 1,500 to 2,000 yards on the ground. He's shown he's capable of doing that before. He ain't doing it now. Nobody's doing anything in Tennessee. Detroit Lions is a team that Detroit really needs to step up on defense. I haven't seen too much that I've liked from Detroit's defense. They've got a good, solid setup for defense. They're just not getting the result. I think this needs to be a statement game for Detroit's defense, a statement game for Detroit as a whole. Stafford has thrown way too many picks so far this season. That's actually a trend that I'm noticing in every game. There's a lot of interceptions being thrown here in the first couple of weeks. Don't know if it's jitters or what it is, but Stafford's throwing too many interceptions. He needs to be more accurate. The offense needs to be better. The running game needs to get going, or else they're going to make a liar out of me, because I said preseason that I thought Detroit was going to have a really good running game. Just the whole team needs a statement game. Tennessee is the perfect opponent. Take Detroit to go into Tennessee, win that game outright for my platinum pick. So there it was, my platinum, gold, silver, and bronze pick for week 3. The rest of my week 3 picks are coming at you right now. Coming at you. Show for this week, folks. NFL Pick Show week number 3. Of course, I will be back next week, hoping to do a little better than I did in week 2. Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. Once again, thank everybody so much for taking the time to watch my videos. There's a lot of competition out there. So happy that you guys take the time to watch mine. I am out, and there's nowhere to go but up.